Hi, thank you so much for joining me here. This is actually the first time I'm doing a recording that is in direct relations with my blog. Previously, I try to do them as lives, but I realize that sometimes I get caught up in other things and I'm not able to be consistent with my lives. So I figured, let's just put it on a YouTube channel. So I'll put it in the link, and if you're interested in watching it as opposed to reading it, then you can actually look at it, you can view it. And at the same time, um, I want to go into more details on the video than I would on the email because I feel like sometimes we get so many emails every day, it's very hard to keep up. So if you're one of those people who would like the message but don't have the time to read the whole thing, I hope you could subscribe to my channel. That would be greatly appreciated. So, my first video today is about learning to advocate for your own self. Um, I've noticed even within my own self, like not knowing how to use your voice and ask for the things that you need to ask for or what you want is not an easy thing for so many people. This is something that you have to learn to do, even as an adult, because I think a lot of us have experienced different traumatic experiences in our childhood, and sometimes the way those things manifest in adulthood is our inability to advocate for the things that we want, especially if you are raised in a home where there was not enough room for you to just be yourself, like the room was saturated by the adults and the caregivers, the parents that took care of you. Um, and they never made the time to let you speak up or to use your voice to ask for the things that you want. And some people were raised in homes where children are seen and are heard. Others were raised in homes where you were so many kids in a home, they couldn't keep up with everybody's needs. And by default, your personal, individual, emotional needs were left unmet. Now, I personally grew up in a boarding school. And when you have so many kids in one room, there is definitely no way an adult is going to have time for each one of you. So we all had to kind of fall in line and follow the leader, who is the teacher or the authority at the time, just to exist in that space. So as an adult, I had to learn to have my voice and actually use it and speak and ask for what I want. Usually I would just keep quiet or I would try to make sense of why I don't have what I want and ration it and make sense of it by default, ignoring it and then make sense of why I don't have it. But as an adult, I've also learned, like, you know what, the more you don't know yourself, the more you understand yourself, you're able to get in touch with what you need, what you want, and how to ask for it. And that is in very direct relations with your emotional health, your emotional development, your emotional knowledge and understanding, emotional intelligence, all those things. So I know so many of you get angry, or so many of you get frustrated. So many of you, we all do get those emotions. None of us is exempted. But when you don't have room to be, that means that your emotions don't have room in that space. So, for example, you're in a relationship, whether it's intimate or family or friendship or co-workers or business, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're in any relationship, you want to observe, when I'm interacting in this space, can I express my anger? Can I express my frustration? Can I express my disappointment without fear that I'm going to be rejected, without fear that I'm going to get into trouble or punished or abused, whatever the circumstance may be? And that will kind of give you a clue whether there is room for you to be in that space. And so if you find yourself where you cannot, that there is no room for you, you want to start to know what you want. That's number one. You want to know, what do I want? So if someone frustrates me, frustration is an emotion that you experience after you have tried many times. And I'm sure you've all experienced relations where you try to communicate or try to talk to someone and it doesn't penetrate through, it doesn't really get into their heads, and you get frustrated that you're trying to say something over and over and over, and now you feel like there's nothing else you can do and you're frustrated. And that emotion is where you need to know that I'm trying to say this to you and you're not able to hear me. So you have a need to be heard. But how do you advocate and ask for that to be made? How do you communicate that to the person you're with or interacting with, where they can actually hear what you're saying, that you have a need to be heard, so that you can use your voice to communicate that in an effective way? Now, communicating does not mean that you're just talking and the other person is hearing what you're saying. Communication means that I'm saying something and it's translated the way I needed it to be translated. It's not misunderstood. It's not being misquoted or misguided. That is effective communication. So within your own self, you have to understand, I need to be heard, because when I'm not heard, I get frustrated. Now you could get angry, you can get discouraged, there's so many ways to experience the same thing. So we are very different. What frustrates me may not frustrate you, and vice versa. And so now you realize emotionally that frustration is trying to communicate to you that you've attempted many times, multiple times, to talk to this person and they seem not to hear you. And now as a result, you're frustrated and now you want to advocate. Your advocation is that you want to stand on your behalf. You know, when someone is advocating for you, they go on your behalf. So there is a part of you that probably did not learn how to. No one ever stood up, especially when you grew up in homes where you were neglected. There was no room for you. Your parents, the caregivers, whoever was responsible to help you, to help create room for you to be, did not do that. And that part of yourself that stuck there. So now you are going to advocate on your own behalf, and you're going to realize, okay, maybe that's a 5-year-old part of myself. Then every time I try to say or ask for what I wanted, my parents always came back with, I'm the adult, or my way or the highway, whatever the reason may be when you were younger. And now you can identify that. Now you go back into that same space as a child, as an adult, and go to that little kid in you and speak on that behalf, on that kid's behalf, and advocate for her as you would if that kid was a stranger and you saw their frustration. How would you help? It's very easy, as you can see, to really be there for people that we don't know, but we don't know how to be there for our own self. If you saw a kid on the street frustrated, it's so easy to pause your own life and help that child. But now you're going to learn to advocate for yourself, advocate on your behalf, so that you get your needs met, so you're no longer victimized by it. So if you are one of those people who are being challenged, or if you experience a lot of frustration, and I think one of the ways you can identify that you don't know how to advocate for yourself, you feel like a victim, you feel helpless, you feel like there is no way, there is no hope. And you are going to learn to speak up on your behalf and ask for the things that you need. And that means that you're going to learn to have healthy ways of expressing yourself where they can be heard, as opposed to just getting frustrated, getting angry, getting discouraged. Because you're an adult and relationships are always going to evolve, but you need to know how to be present and being able to show up without being frustrated. So I hope this is something that has helped you. And if you want more of this, just email me back if you feel like this message has communicated to you, and let me know some of your stories. Let me know some of the topics that you want me to address on your behalf, or to address to help you to navigate. But also, if you want, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to forward this to your friends or people that you know that may need this, because I'm gonna really send up a lot of these videos coming up soon. So it's Weekly Wisdom with Damari, and thank you so much for watching this. Thank you.